Welcome, listeners, to episode 70 of Cocktail Hour. I'm Andy.
I'm Rev.
And today we are welcoming award-winning author, Chris Paynter.
Hello.
I was going to say, that's your cue, Chris. Put down that drink, damn it.
Oh, no, I got it right here.
And on that note, today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/cocktail hour. Over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. So there you go. They gave Chris enough time to open up her bottle of hooch.
I already have, obviously.
And get settled in. Matter of fact, speaking of hooch, I'm having a tasty little sex with Jennifer.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she's just spreading ready all around, ain't she?
She is. I love me some Jennifer.
Sweet. And what's that mother's milk you're having over there, Chris?
I'm having actually have two bottles sitting here, so I'm ready for the next one.
Nice.
Jack Daniel's Lynchburg Lemonade.
Oh.
That's good. Yeah.
I haven't had that.
It's good. She's no Jennifer, but, it's still pretty good.
Yeah, pretty yummy, huh?
It's Jack.
You don't know Jack.
Jennifer.
I got you. That's fantastic. And I know we have a few giveaways to winners to announce, right, Rev?
We do. We're going to do this a little differently because I had a lot of stuff to do today and I didn't plan ahead. So, Chris, I would like you to pick the winners, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Okay. So this one is for. Let me see. How many copies of this is she giving away here? 2. Okay, so Amy Dawson Robertson is giving away two ebook copies. They're supposed to be of Midnight in Orlando, but some folks had already read it and have it. So she kind of threw out the offer that it would pretty much be whatever, any of her books.
Uh-huh.
So, Chris, if you would pick a number between 1 and 8.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Good. 8.
8. Okay. And give me a number between 1 and 7.
2.
All right. Excellent. So our winners are Amy and Cindy.
Sweet.
I think Amy's won before, but Cindy is a new person. So congratulations. And I will get Amy Dawson Robertson your email addresses, and you should be hearing from her in the next couple of days. Okay. And then we also have a paper copy or an EPUB of Cherry Potts's book, Lover's Lies, a book of anthologies. And so if you would please pick a number between 1 and 4.
3.
Pat Bain. Yay!
Oh,
for Pat.
wow. She's won a few things that Pat has.
Pat is very lucky. She's out right now on vacation, so she won't know about this for a little bit. She's got no internet. So yay, Pat!
Yay, congrats to all the winners. That's very cool.
And that's all I got.
That's all you got?
Yeah. Now remember, listeners, that Isabella is giving away ebook or print copies, 3 of them of any of her books. So be sure and get to that particular bar rag, which is, it doesn't matter what number it is because we don't do it that way anymore, but get over to Isabella's bar rag by the 26th and leave your comment, okay? Leave a comment about what you'd like to see the LCLC. What would you like to see in a conference?
Yeah.
And get entered.
And today's the last day for submissions for the Bearded Clam Challenge, isn't it?
It is not.
No?
Monday, the 15th.
Why does it keep being a moving target date? I swear to God. Seriously.
It hasn't been. It's always been July 15th.
No, it has not.
It has.
Oh, my hell. Why, my memory is really bad.
It is. It's terrible.
Oh, my God,
Memory's
that's terrible.
horrible.
Ah, it's awful.
It's the 15th. So we'll get your submissions in because we have 3. So, that's it. Get them in.
Yeah, what the hell? Because I know I know there's more than 3 people said they were going to do it.
I know.
What the hell?
Liars.
They're waiting. Oh my God, they're waiting forever.
Bunch of liars.
I know. I'm gonna have to send some emails and say, "Come on, losers, get your shit in."
Get your shit.
God damn it. Okay, so Oh, now that we have all the housekeeping items out of the way, we get to talk to the fantastic Chris Paynter. As a matter of fact, folks that are interested, Chris has a website, yay, because she rocks. And her website is www.ckpaynter, and it's PAYNTER.com. So you can get excerpts from her books, you can learn all about her, she tells you what's coming up, what's already out, review links, ordering books, her email address, she's got it all except for her bust size. The bust size isn't on there, I looked. Oh my God. So she rocks, seriously. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, welcome again to our show. We're so excited you're here.
Well, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I was a little nervous about reading the book that Survived By that you won was it the Ann Bannon Award?
Yes, yeah.
I was a little nervous because I thought, oh no, it's going to be a damn tearjerker. I'm not in the mood for a damn tearjerker. So I'm like, oh man, I really don't. Oh man, can I just I got to read it. So I sat down in one day and read the book, and I can't wait to talk about it.
Good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a big compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, well, you know how I already feel about it because I posted on Facebook. So there's no surprise there.
I can act surprised, though. That's
you can act surprised. Yeah. So Sherry has graciously once again got volunteered to do the book summary that she does them so well. So we have to, play on her strengths. You know how that is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a few days since I finished the book, and I've not prepared anything because I never do.
Yeah, you like to shoot from the hip,
which is really bizarre because I'm such an incredible control freak.
I know, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll try to do it justice. So
pressure.
Pressure. Well, if I really fuck it up, I'll just drink more. And hold on, Jennifer needs to whisper in my ear. Hold on a second. All right. Jennifer's given me a little extra courage to carry on.
Woo.
Okay, so Survived by Her Longtime Companion, like Andy said, it's like, oh shit, I know I'm gonna bawl. What it is it's a story. It's two stories all in one. You have Bailey and Chelsea, who are youngish professionals who the book opens up with them breaking up, and they've just kind of grown apart and kind of toss in the towel and say, okay, time to move on. And they're both trying to. 11 months later, a big movie star from the 40s, right? The 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Yeah, right.
Daphne de Monet passes away, and there's a line in the obituary referencing her longtime companion, Eleanor Burnett. So Bailey is a researcher and works for a biographer and for other folks. And Chelsea is a college professor, a university professor, focusing on feminism and lesbians and
gender
film.
studies, right?
Yeah. So they both end up. I don't think this is given too much away because it happens pretty early. They both end up trying to get an interview with Eleanor, and Eleanor kind of has her own agenda, and I think we can just leave it at that.
Yep. Should we say that this podcast is going to have spoilers, or are we going to try and leave it as spoiler free as possible?
I think we can probably do it spoiler free.
Okay. It's going to be hard because there's a few things I really want to say about. But you know what? It's a fairly new book, isn't it?
No, it's been out since January 2012. So,
oh, hell. We can have all kinds of spoilers in. Who you kidding?
Yeah, it's up to you. I don't have a problem.
All right, well, fuck it. Let's do spoilers.
Let's have spoilers. For some reason, I thought it was a newer book.
No, that's the way the award cycle works. It's always like the following year that the awards for that year were from the previous year.
2012.
And it was at the beginning
of 2012. Okay.
Of the cycle. So yeah.
All right. Well, be aware that there may be spoilers in this. If you don't care, that's great. If you do, it's a quick, easy read. Go get the book. Click on the link on the podcast. So that we get a couple of pennies, and then go read it. Come back and listen.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
There you go.
That's good.
All right then.
Yeah.
All right, Andy, you want to start?
Oh, I got to tell you, one of the things, and if you've been listening to this show for any length of time, you're going to know that I really can't stand flashbacks. It's one of the things I just absolutely can't stand. But I like how Chris did this book because instead of just doing like falling back on the flashbacks, she did it in more like a diary, but not really a diary, but kind of like a diary. Like you're reading from a diary, but it's just too detailed to be a diary for real. But I mean, it made it so that it would stream in this timeline, like double timelines, and it was still enjoyable. I didn't get thrown by it because of the way she crafted it, because it could have just dangerously gone the other way. So I have to say that was a nice surprise how you worked that in, so that you were telling the story all right now, but at the times where Eleanor wants the two that are listening to her story, she lets them read from the diary, and it transports you back to the 40s or the 50s or whatever, that time period. Right. And it was just so enjoyable. I'm like, oh man, this is awesome! Because, like I said, it didn't interrupt the flow. It felt very organic, and it really worked well.
Well, I had a decision to make at the beginning when I first started writing it, and in fact, I started writing it telling the present day, and then I thought, well, how am I going to do this? Am I going to tell the diary and just write that all at once, and then intermingle them after I was done writing the book? And then I realized that's not going to work because of the way the story's told. And I knew if we were, it all paralleled what was going on with Bailey and Chelsea during the present time. And if I had tried to mix them together, it wouldn't have worked. So I wrote it in third person and first person. It took me a while to get used to going back and forth from the diary back to the present day, back to the diary. And it took me about probably 3 or 4 chapters into when the diary started for me to actually get into the flow of it.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. And when I only made 2 notes while I was reading. One is pretty early on, me asking, making a note, is Eleanor writing the scenes and dialogue, or are we flashing back? Right. Because the way that you had it structured, they would start to read, and then boom, she's going. Then it's Eleanor telling the story, and I was trying to figure out, is she reminiscing? Are we there while it's happening? But yeah. And then the other thing that I wrote down is, what does Eleanor do? There's no mention of her acting career in the diary readings at all. There's really no mention of what she does. Right. At all once she's done with her waitressing job. She buys things, she does things, but there's really, she really gets no mention at all.
Didn't she work at that bookstore in England?
Yeah, she did work. She did work there for a while when she broke up.
Right, but I meant the majority of it. It kind of gives the impression that she's just kind of living off of Daphne. Right.
Yeah, it's more of she didn't really have much of a career in the first place. In the first place as a bit actress, but I got going into it, and I just wanted to keep the focus on Daphne as the actress, because I knew what I was going to have happen to her later in the book as far as her health deteriorating, and then of course it's not Eleanor's job, but her whole thing becomes as a caretaker, later in the book. But yeah, I honestly, it's funny you say that. When I read it, I've read it a couple of times. I had to read it seems like 5,000 times as we edited it. But after I finished it, I thought the same thing. What you're saying, I'm like, wow, I never really referenced her stopping everything, I just had it stop, where she wasn't acting anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it was, for me, it was kind of like sort of unspoken that she gave that up. And when they had the one conversation, the first time that they broke up, and she said, I need to have a say-so. You're always going to have the money, the fame, but I need to have a say-so on what we're doing and in our lives. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, Eleanor really was from once they got back together. Just from the diary excerpts that we got to see, she really seemed to do nothing but live for Daphne. Everything was Daphne's choice. Even though she said, I need a say, she really did just kind of, well, wherever you are, I'll be. Whatever you want to do is fine with me. I think if I really thought Eleanor was an incredibly interesting character, and I wished I could have seen more of her. I really liked the parts where she was talking to Bailey and Chelsea, and I really liked her a lot. She obviously had a motive in the way that she did what she did, the way she handled the interviews and things like that. I liked her. She was a crafty old broad.
She was a crafty old broad and spunky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. She was, she's living her life the way she wanted to with no apologies, and I really like that about Eleanor.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
She, I know I said that in the acknowledgments where I actually acknowledged my character, but I've never had I hope it happens again sometime, but I've never had a character take over a book like that, to where I felt like I know this may sound odd, but I felt like I was dictating a story. It wasn't like I was writing. There's not a whole lot that changed from what I originally wrote. There was some scenes that I had to fix, mainly adding a little more tension between Chelsea and Bailey. Nan Dunn, my editor, suggested that. Plus, I had the agent too much of a stereotypical agent, and she was saying I needed to change that. And there were some other things as far as more tension between Eleanor and Daphne as far as their arguments and all that. But the really special scenes in there that I could hone in on, one where they make love for the first time, hardly anything changed in that from what I originally wrote. The other would be when we're giving away spoilers, right?
Yeah.
The other one would be when Gordon died. I stayed up till past midnight writing that scene, and I've never written 3,000 words in one sitting before, and I wrote that much for that. And the other one was where, it's probably one of my favorite parts of the book, was where Daphne is recognized with a special award. And I've like I said, I've never had a character do that. I know Phyllis asked me one time when I was writing it, "Are you going to write tonight?" Because I didn't, that night. And I'm like, "No, Eleanor's not talking." Because what would be weird would happen when she would tell Chelsea and Bailey, go away, I'm tired, or whatever. I didn't write that day or night. It was really strange. I don't know how else to put it. I know about other authors who probably had that happen before, but I've never had a character do that. It was special, and it felt special while I was writing it. But she is my favorite character in the book. I mean, it's probably pretty obvious with the way the book's written.
Yeah. Andy, I have a few more things. Do you want to jump in, or do you want me to keep going?
Well, speaking of Gordon dying, I got to tell you, that you wrote that so well. It was so poignant that it reminded me of being in the time, the 80s decade,
Yeah.
And a book that I read, I think it was called Thing of Beauty by Stephen Fried, or Fried, I'm not quite sure how he says his name. And it's the sad tale of supermodel Gia Karanji. And in that book, it talks about all of the really creative, artistic, famous people that we lost to AIDS in the 80s.
Right.
And it was just so sad to think about how many we lost.
Right.
People that we knew or didn't know, people that helped shape the world, and it's just terrible, and it just brought back all of those very, very sad feelings. And so kudos to you for your writing ability,
Thank you.
to really bring that out. So
well, I came to, actually after I finished that scene, obviously Phyllis was already in bed sleeping, but I came in and I was crying. And that's the only part of that book that I wrote while I was writing that I actually cried.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about it, and she actually said, "Do you want to talk about it?" Because I was like, "Gordon died." Gordon died, and I have a best friend and who's a flight attendant, and she said, "You're thinking about Matt." And I was like, "Yeah, I think that's why it hit me so hard. It's like my best friend." And it was Daphne's best friend, so
yeah.
I wanted to. I was going to bring that scene up also because I was reading while I was at work, using the text to speech, and I had actually taken my lunch break and was listening and following along with my eyes during that scene, and I did cry at work at my desk, and it's a really bad reputation buster for folks to come back and see me go, "Oh, Gordon's dead."
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was and it was like as soon as he called, I'm like, "Oh shit, he's got AIDS," and I couldn't help, and I think other people probably will have the same reaction as I do. I couldn't help but relate Gordon to Rock Hudson and Daphne with her philanthropic, stuff with AIDS to Elizabeth Taylor
or Doris Day.
Right, or Doris Day, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Did those folks come to mind while you were writing this, or
there were some actresses and actors that I thought about while I was writing it. The Rock Hudson was pretty obvious because I even have the press conference where he's standing next to, and I can't remember if it was Doris Day that was standing with him that day when he. I could still visualize him standing there talking about it, and so I did reference that, and
that's exactly the image that I got in my head as I was reading that scene. Yeah,
and but yeah, it was like Daphne was kind of a combination of Barbara Stanwyck, Elizabeth Taylor, who wasn't a lesbian, but as far as we know, but the stuff that she did for AIDS, and talking, and I believe she did go in front of Congress to try to get more money and more research going. But yeah, I know this is kind of going off subject a little bit, but what got the whole thing started for me was Phyllis and I were sitting there, and I was talking about Claudette Colbert and how in one of her obituaries it said she was survived by her longtime companion, and I told Phyllis that that would be a great title for a book, and then that would be a great book. I kind of sounded like God, I can't think. One of those old movies like, I have a stage. We could do a show. And after that, I was just like staring off into space. So I was totally lost to Phyllis for the rest of the evening. And then I was trying to figure out how to make it work because I knew what I wanted to do with the back and forth thing. But yeah, and I thought of Claudette Colbert. And even though she wasn't not as much stuff was written about her as like Barbara Stanwyck, but there was quite a few actresses that I looked at when I was writing it.
Hold up. Are you trying to tell me Claudette Colbert was family? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's been, if you read, it's kind of, it's like she was married.
Andy's Googling. I can hear you typing.
Yeah. She was married twice, I believe. And at the end of her life, she had a woman that she was with for a very long time who was with her. And she had a stroke. And she helped take care of her. And she left her estate to this woman.
I want to break in real quick, just before I forget this, because I have an old brain.
I can guess for sure she's gay, but it was like stuff like that kind of.
The way that you set up the way that you had the estate stuff set up, that was really interesting. That you took the time to to put that in there, and I immediately wanted to write all that down and check into it for us. That was really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I did a lot of research for the book. I had to research that time period in the 50s where the news, the magazines and stuff were going after gay actors, and I didn't want to make it McCarthyism, but it was during that time period, and then I had to research strokes, how you're affected with that, and there was, and in the AIDS era, I wanted to make sure I got the time periods right when that was really rampant, and anyway.
Yeah, I really, honestly, I thought it was a really well put together book. I didn't notice any typos, because that kind of stuff just kills me. The other thing that I always appreciate is good dialogue, and your dialogue just flowed so nicely, and maybe that's because she was channeling through you. I don't know, but whatever it is, and this is the first book of yours that I've read, so
me too.
I can't compare it to anything else. But the dialogue in this I thought was fantastic.
Well, thank you.
Very natural, back and forth, and honestly, I thought it was a really well put together book all the way around.
Yeah, if someone were to ask me what's your strength in writing, I would say dialogue. And I've had that probably in every one of my books. One of my things my brother told me was like, God, your stuff reads like people really talk, and but yeah, that's probably, if you were to ask me what I do best, it would probably be the dialogue in my books.
Yeah, absolutely a strength. But I gotta say, and I'm not calling bullshit, but I gotta say,
I was waiting for that.
I'm not really calling bullshit.
Let's get this out of the way. Let's get this out. What would you call bullshit?
Yeah, I'm not really calling it, but I'm saying that I had to suspend disbelief quite a bit.
Yeah.
On how Bailey and Chelsea broke up and then were thrown in the same situation where they were together 11 months later. And
I knew that. Actually, this is so funny. I had this conversation with my wife, Phyllis, and I said, if Andy calls bullshit on anything, that's what it's going to be. Because, I joke with people when I talked about the book when I went down to Dallas to the Jewel Lesfic book club. Because it's fiction. We can do this, and I just did it. And but I've seen that in a couple of reviews, where people are like, that's a little far-fetched. But
it's a little contrived, I think would be the word that we're looking for. I'm not saying it makes the story, it doesn't really take away from the story, but it's there and it's early on, and once you get over that it was really a little bit contrived, it's okay. It's okay. Trust me, though, anybody listening to this, don't let it influence your decision not to buy the book, because trust me, the entire book overall is definitely worth the price, and it's worth reading. It's not a waste of time. You will love it. As a matter of fact, you'll probably put it on your reread list every couple of years. It was a very good story.
I think the only thing that I would have called bullshit on was the quickness and that they broke up. It was just like, okay, I'm done. Okay, after 9 years, that just seemed really, but I mean, obviously they were going to get back together and, whatever, but
Yeah.
that for me was the tough thing to swallow.
Yeah, it's interesting. The book you did start, if that would have made it even worse for you, it did start with chapter 2. And Nan was like, no, we need a little bit of background as to having a breakup scene at least, don't have it just go into that. And so I wrote chapter 1 after I'd written the rest of the book. And
I don't want to say something against the great Nan, because Nan is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to say, it almost might have been easier if it would have started at chapter 2.
Right.
It might have been. I mean, I can see where you're coming from with that, because you didn't have to go through the whole 9-year explanation and have that whole uncomfortable scene in the beginning, only to be, 9 months later. It would. I can see. You know what? I probably would have started where you started, actually.
Yeah, it could have gone either way, but yeah, the thing that I felt better about, though, is as we went along through the edits, is that I did add some stuff where I did have it in there where they would talk about, why didn't we talk? I sprinkled in the stuff as to what broke them up, even though they told Eleanor why they broke up.
But they stated why they broke up in the first chapter. I mean, it was real clear why. It was just that the ease with which both of them were just like, oh, I have a new job, I'm leaving. Oh, okay. Bye.
Right, but to springboard on that, Rev's absolutely right. I didn't feel any emotion when they broke up. You know what I mean? I didn't feel anything. It just felt like words on a page.
Right.
And
maybe that was because it was added after.
Maybe.
Sorry, Nan, but we're going to go with Chris on this one.
Yeah, we're going with Chris on this one, Nan. We love you. We think you're fantastic, but we're going with Chris on this one.
Well, I saw that scene at the beginning. I don't outline when I write, and I write from scene to scene.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me digest that for a minute. You don't... as complicated as your scenes can be.
No, I don't. I know.
Holy crap.
I'll start a book. Actually, I start a book knowing the opening scene and knowing what I want the last. And it may be not right away that I know what the last scene will be, but it'll happen pretty fast when I start the book.
Wow.
Then from that, I start picturing scenes within the book, and then I might write those down. But I don't outline as far as how I get there. I just write. I knew what I wanted to happen with Eleanor in all the parts of the diary, so I just started writing from point to point, and making sure I included each one of those when I was done. But yeah, I don't outline.
Wow, that's impressive.
Can I break in for a second before we forget? There's a call.
Yeah, we can play the call. I wasn't going to forget. We have a call and an email.
We have an email too?
Didn't you say there was an email?
No, she was going to email her recording, but I didn't get one, so
okay.
we're going to pass on that.
All right, so let's go to the call then. I think this is from Nancy Jean.
It is.
All right, here we go.
Chris, you owe me a box of Kleenex. That's all.
That's fantastic. I love Nancy Jean. She's awesome. And you know what? That's a really good segue to the part I want to make sure I mention. As upset as I was that Gordon died, and trust me, I shed a couple of tears for Gordon and all the other fantastic people we lost in the 80s and since then. But I got to tell you, I had no idea that Daphne's severe and final third stroke, when she was laying in the hospital dying in a coma, and Eleanor was there, I had no idea that was going to make me haul out and bawl like a baby in a soiled diaper. Because let me tell you right now, I was so upset. I'm like, oh my God, Daphne's dead! I mean, I was bawling like some crazy... I mean, it was terrible. I'm so glad it wasn't really loud, because I have a suspicion the neighbors might have come over. Seriously, it hit me like a bad Acme anvil. Seriously, it's like bang! I had no idea that was coming.
Wow.
Yep, I had to take my glasses off. I'm wiping them on my sleeve. My glasses are getting steamed up because I'm just so upset. I'm like, what the hell?
I don't think I've ever heard you have a reaction like that
That-
before
that
to
was-
something that we've read.
That was awful. That was so awful. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sad. I mean, I was crying. I was awful.
Well, it was called "Survived by Her Longtime."
I mean,
I know what's going to happen.
You know what?
It
I
says
knew.
it.
I knew Daphne was going to die. I knew she was.
No,
But because you had let it up so well between her other strokes
Yeah.
and how they overcame it and how they managed to still have a quality of life together
And a lot of sex.
and a lot of sex. Go girls!
Yeah.
But I just I knew my brain knew that it was coming, but my heart didn't know that it was going to impact me the way it did. So I got to say kudos to you for your ability to make people feel, because holy shit, I thought I was dead inside, but that was a rude awakening for me.
Can I
Seriously.
jump in real quick before you comment, Chris? I just wanted to also say that the way that you address issues of hospital visitation and family, that I'm so happy that you put that in there, because I think a lot of folks, particularly younger folks, don't really understand what it was like, what it still is like
Yeah.
for many people.
And depending on what state you live in.
Exactly. And that I was so happy when I read that, when you have the nurse or the paramedic saying, "Are you family?"
Yeah. Yeah. Because if you're family, you get to go on with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wink,
And then
wink, wink.
to also show Daphne's response to that, her reaction to that, like, she's really confused, and then she's like, "Oh, right."
You mean Eleanor?
No, Daphne's response
Yeah.
in the hospital when she.
Oh,
when
yeah,
she
yeah, that's
wakes up.
right.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that.
I did also want to say that part of the difficulty for me, the emotional difficulty for me, is we're getting older. My partner and I have been together since we were 18. I'm terrified, of something happening to her, and I know that you and Phyllis just went through, so I'm going to cry right now because
Don't do it.
I can't help but be concerned and a little worried and anxious about anything happening.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's well, it changed our lives. Cancer did, and Phyllis. My therapist that I had also went through, I think, 3 cancers, and so I could talk to him about what I was feeling, and he could tell me how Phyllis might be feeling because he understood it. But he was saying, you look in the mirror and you're facing your own mortality more so than what somebody else who hadn't gone through the cancer and cancer treatment. But it has changed everything for us. It wasn't that we weren't already close and that we didn't already love each other, but it's made us even closer. And we don't let bullshit bother us like, it used to, especially me. Phyllis has always been better about that than I have. But if somebody's doing some bullshit stuff around me or has drama going on, I don't have to listen to it. I don't have to participate. And I know there's more to life than that. And I don't want anybody to have to go through what we went through to find that out in their own lives. But you reassess everything.
Yeah. Well, I think you captured, to me, you captured a lot of Eleanor's fear and concern, and Daphne's too. It just all felt very, very real to me. It felt very authentic, and great job.
Well, thank you. But I had written that book before Phyllis was diagnosed with cancer. So a lot of, I had told this to Liz McMullen in an interview, a lot of the words that were in that book that Daphne said to Eleanor, like, I don't want to be a burden to you. I don't ever want to be a burden. Phyllis actually said those words to me, and it was, I had to actually stop her. We were outside the cancer treatment center when she was going in for radiation treatment, and I said the same thing, you are not a burden to me. You are my heartbeat. It was, and I had to remind her of the book. Phyllis is older than I am, and she worried about that when we first got together. We got past that, and then the cancer came on, 11 years into our relationship, and we had to get past that too. So, anyway.
All right, I'm going to get misty-eyed over here again. Stop it. One cry a year was enough. Jesus.
So, Chris, tell us about your new book.
Yeah, tell us about your new book. Yay! Oh, my God.
Do you really want me to?
Yes,
the
actually.
one I just came out with, it's interesting. It was, I had already started that too before all this happened with Phyllis, and it's about a woman who loses her partner at the very beginning of the book, and how she rediscovers love after.
Holy crap!
You're killing me over here.
Yeah, but it was, I bet. When I wrote that, I stopped and started that book so many times because of dealing with my dad's dying and with Phyllis's cancer. I did write things. I think when I wrote And a Time to Dance, parts of that, I think I was talking about Phyllis. Even though Phyllis is here, Phyllis is healthy, everything's okay. I was writing, probably not even knowing it when I wrote it, how I would have felt if it hadn't turned out the way that it did. And when I talk about the character who had died at the beginning of the book, I was talking about Phyllis when I say that she has this energy about her, and people love being around her, and she's so positive. And I actually have my character saying that about her late partner in the book. So now I'm writing my third baseball book, which is a happy book. So we're okay with the baseball, and everything's good there.
Oh, that's good. Listen, I do want to say that I'm really glad that Phyllis has come through and that everything's all right. I mean, I know that I was a little flippant earlier, but it's a good thing that she's recovered and she's got no problems now. So that's good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's really good. Because I can be a cynical ass, but, seriously, I think that's why it hit me when Daphne died. Because, anytime that there's, a character die, it's just like, yeah, I knew that was coming. I'm a little cynical. But this one, you were really able to seamlessly, make these characters really real to me. And like I said, my heart betrayed me. And it was really a nice surprise, even if it was a little heart-wrenching. So...
Yeah, I'm serious. I don't think I've ever heard you have this kind of a reaction.
I know, right? What
ever.
the hell?
I mean, we've been doing this for almost 3 years now.
Yeah.
And I've known you for, a year or so before that.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep, that was something. That was
Wow.
really something. So, listeners, get that damn book. Check it out. Nancy Gina already had to have a box of Kleenex, and she wants, reimbursed. So, I get that. Yeah, I get that. So, how about we light this up and play Who Would You Fuck?
Do I get the answer first?
Yeah,
or how does
if you like, let's get carnal. Who are you going to fuck?
Out of the book, how to survive by Her Longtime Companion. Right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
I would have to say Eleanor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just because of her character and her strength, and even though Chelsea would probably be more of my type, I would have to say Eleanor just because of her personality.
Yeah, you like that feistiness, I can tell.
Yeah.
You like that feisty. What about you, Rev? Who are you going to fuck?
I actually cannot decide, so I'm going to do something a little different.
Uh-oh, menage a trois?
Yes. I'm going to go back in time.
Uh-oh.
And I would like to request Daphne and Eleanor.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, because I think, it's very rare that I would want to do both. But I just think, the two of them together would just be incredible.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So yeah, and that's all that I can't think of a better. No, I'm going to have to do it. I'm sorry, I just have to. Andy?
Well, I always like a good menage a trois, but I'm going to let you have that one, and then when you're done with them, I'll have Daphne shower up, and then she and I can go at it.
I'll try not to wear her out.
That's why you have Insure. No, just kidding.
I was tempted to go for Rebecca because really somebody needs to love her.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh, fuck Rebecca.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, not
Exactly.
really. No, I'm using that not in a good way.
I did half-ass expect to have. I mean, obviously, I really expected to see Rebecca turn into some kind of freakish stalker and have Bailey beat the crap out of her. But I'm happy that didn't happen. So thank you.
No, I dropped that one. It was like, no. I mean, I never wrote that anyway. But the way I wrote it was the way it came out in the book. So I never had her stalker, but it was like, I like to have Bailey's reaction. Like, well, if you need me to take care of it, I can take care of it.
Yeah, I did expect maybe, a right hook, but I was pleased to see there was no unnecessary violence. So that was nice. That was nice. So, wow, yeah. Overall, I gotta say, I rate this book pretty high. I'm going to definitely put it on my reread list.
Excellent.
Well, thank you, Andy.
Yep.
And for you listeners, well, at least for 3 of you, you're going to be able to grab an autographed print copy of any of Chris's books, right? So that's 3 of you. So we're going to go back to our old standard, right?
We have standards? Wait a minute, we have standards?
Yes, our old standard question.
Oh.
For the giveaway.
I don't. I have very few standards.
You have none. I mean, really. Let's just be honest.
No, I got a couple.
That's right. But it has to do with the quality of your liquor and toys.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Matter of fact, I almost bought a new toy chest, but I digress. Go ahead. I was at the store. I almost bought a new one today. Go ahead.
I wasn't drinking when you just said that, so I'm good.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, so listeners, go ahead and leave a comment no later than the 26th of this month with what your favorite work of Chris Paynter's is, or if you haven't read any of Chris Paynter's books yet, why the hell not? Mm-hmm. Okay, so go ahead and leave your comments. We'll pick the winner during the. We'll just make Warrior Judge pick.
Yeah, because that's in 2 weeks. Yep.
Yeah. Was that okay for you, Chris? Was that too much pressure? That was okay for you to pick the winners?
Yeah.
Excellent. Then we'll make Warrior Judge pick the winners of your book.
Okay. That's
books. Good. Excellent.
Yep. So yay. And before we sign off and head out to our respective whatever we're doing, I found out when I was doing a little research on Chris and her biography that she's a history buff, and I was very excited because I'm a history buff, but we're a few decades off in our obsessions. Chris is very much interested in the Civil War, and I think that's pretty awesome. I mean, that's not my field. But I asked Chris earlier why she hasn't written a Civil War book yet. Sorta, kinda. So, Chris, when are you going to write that Civil War book?
I need to go back and revisit that book. I was telling Andy that it was the first thing I wrote, and it would be a lot of work to edit it because I didn't know what the hell I was doing when I wrote it. But that's kind of been in the back of my mind, even if it's not that book, to write something else. Because one of my favorite trips I've ever taken was when I graduated from college. My parents gave me money to just go by myself to all these Civil War sites. And it was really fun. So, but for me, other people may not find that fascinating, but to go to all the battlefields and to actually feel like you were there. So I hope to write about it sometime.
Well, I hope you do.
Okay.
I'm serious. I just can't get enough of historical fiction. I really can't.
Go ahead and say what you normally say about being a hoe for history.
I'm a hoe for history. It's true.
What's your time period that you like? You said mine was off a few decades. What history part did you focus on?
The middle to late 18th century.
Okay.
I am a real big hoe, as we call it, for the French Revolution, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that Muse speaking to you yet?
No. She's capricious. I think she's camping out over at Chris's house.
She might be. If she visited you as much as Jennifer does, we'd be set.
I know it, right? Shit. I mean, damn it.
That asshole.
I know. I could be the next, Caleb Carr, for fuck's sake. What the hell?
You could be. Which I've still not finished that book.
Oh, my God. But you read the best one. Oh, no, you didn't finish it, did you?
No.
Oh, my God. But, yeah, one of these days I'm going to finish a book that has to do with the French Revolution.
That sounds good.
Yeah, but it's not the Scarlet Pimpernel, just so you know. I want to tell it from the old commoner's point of view.
And there'll be a syphilitic madam named Sherry.
Ex-madam named Sherry. Yes.
Ex-madam. Sherry.
Sherry.
That's right. No relation, of course.
Yes, we made that pact. I'm going to write the story. Sherry's going to edit it, but I have to have a character that's a syphilitic madam named Sherry.
Actually, I had wanted to be like the heroine of the story, but Andy said no, the only way I could be in it is if I was the disease-ridden ex-madam. So, I take what I get. It's fine, really.
It's true.
So there you go. My secrets have been revealed.
Yep, well, some of them.
Yeah, some of them.
Don't look in the pouch.
Don't look in the oh, God, I have a story for you, but that's offline. I'm not telling my listeners that story. Yeah,
like
no.
The listeners don't already know about
No.
secret pouch.
No. They already know about that, but no. No, it's something that has to do with the secret pouch in the chair and the thing. But yeah, no, I haven't let this story go, so I'll have to tell you guys offline.
All right. Well, welcome to the show, Chris.
Yay, Chris!
Thank you.
Chris is like, can I come back in 2 weeks? You guys are fun.
You can come back whenever you want to, Chris. If you want to come back and talk about your new book, we'll get you on this schedule.
Sure.
All right.
If you want to do a reading, let us know. We're easy.
Like Sunday morning.
That's
I've
right.
heard that about you guys. But
Oh,
yeah.
I know that's Andy. I'm not easy at all. I'm very difficult.
Oh, please. Beth calls you a goddess. I about fell over when I heard that.
I love Beth Burnett. I just want to throw that out there. I just want to say it because no one loves me like Beth.
And for the right reasons. I'm just saying.
She respects me for my brain.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure. That's
that's it. That's it.
And on that note.
All right, listeners, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Chris, for being on the show. It was very, very, very fun.
Thanks. I had a good time.
All right, bye.